How is it going, everybody? Luker back again, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 decks for ladder for the rest of the year. 2020 is almost over, thank God. December's almost over, so let's take a look at the top 5 decks. For those of you who are out of the loop a little bit, maybe you took a little bit of a break, maybe you live under a rock, they nerfed Demon Hunter. They also nerfed Polkelt, Dino Tamer Bran, and Voracious Reader, I want to say. I have a video on the patch notes, you can check it out, it's my last upload. But yeah, I want to take a look at the top 5 decks. We're going to do it the way we always do. The first deck we'll look at will be the 5th best deck, then the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then finally we'll wrap it up with the best deck, which for the first time in a very long time is not a Demon Hunter deck. Or, Demon Hunter's not even in the top 5. It's actually insane. It's usually always a Demon Hunter deck. I don't want to keep you guys too long, so we're going to take a look at the 5 best decks. You guys know what to do if you like the video. It would help me out a lot if you subscribed to the channel and put a little thumbs up. These videos are, it's a little bit of work for me, it's some work from my editor, and seeing support helps me do it again and again and again and again. In going into 2021, I want to be making consistent content. So yeah, if you guys want to show me some love, that would mean a lot to me. Alright guys, let's take a look at the 5th best deck. I love you all. Just jump right in. It was actually kind of hard to find number 5 on this list. Number 4 was also kind of hard, but like number 1, 2, and 3, like the first 3 best decks were like pretty clear to me. But the other 2 were actually kind of hard to like narrow down. And it's not because there's like too many good decks, it's because they all kind of suck. Every deck is like super, super weak. But number 5 on this list is Highlander Priest. There are a lot of different builds of Highlander Priest. The most like notorious one, and by notorious I mean bad, is D-Money, so I'm sure you guys have seen it. I love my boy D-Money, but holy hell, that list is an abomination. The Highlander Priest that we are featuring is pretty standard. You can pretty much run like 28 cards in your deck, and you put Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, you put Zephyrs, and as long as the other cards are some form of removal, to an extent, you have the good cards, the 2/5, you have Sethic, you have the spells like Apotheosis, you're going to win games. I think there's consideration that Highlander Priest might not be as good as 2 of Priest. I think this Dragon Control Priest is what people are referring to it as, but I think Highlander is a bit better simply because Zephyrs is busted. Also, this deck lets you run weapon removal. You have Ooze, you have Sticky Fingers, you have Zephyrs, which is pretty much weapon removal. You have Raise Dead to bring back your weapon removal, and all these cards are very good against Shaman, which, I mean, you guys know it, Shaman's everywhere. If you've played the game, you have seen an evolved Shaman or 17. The class is everywhere, and Priest does a decent job at answering it with all their removal tools. I'm not exactly sure like how this matchup is in terms of percentages, but I do know that you can answer boards and you can remove their weapons, so if they don't have explosive swing turns out of the gates every turn, then you're in like a decent spot, I would say. So I think Highlander Priest is probably the 5th best deck on the list, but if you really want to play 2 of Priest, that's probably fine. If you don't want to play Priest, that's fine too. There's a plethora of other bad decks that you can play, but I do think that Priest is the first deck that we should be taking a look at with this list. Number 4 on our list is Libroom Paladin. I went to grab this deck list on Twitter, and I spent like 30 minutes just scrolling through Twitter, just looking. I found the deck list, but I spent like 30 minutes just refreshing tweets, but you know, it is what it is. ADHD is horrible. So Libroom Paladin is a deck that I'm sure all of you are familiar with. Blizzard has buffed it. They buffed it like 4 patches in a row. I think it's true. They buffed it like twice because they wanted it to be good, and they nerfed every other deck, so eventually Libroom Paladin had to be good. It is what it is. Now Libroom Paladin's a pretty good deck. I would say it's teetering on the edge of Tier 1. I think it's probably top of Tier 2, maybe the 2nd best deck within Tier 2. But I think the deck is very good. It's pretty consistent. The list I'm featuring is a bit different than normal. It is actually Zhao Ti's list, who is a professional player from China. First thing you'll notice when you look at this list is that it has Avenging Wrath in it, as well as 2 copies of Hammer of the Naru. I think Hammer of the Naru speaks for itself. It's a pretty good card. It's a strong weapon with a 6/6 body. Avenging Wrath is a bit more memey, but the card's fun. You can do some cool things with Penflinger, with the Libroom of Justice, as well as just hitting your opponent for a bunch of missiles that go like... It's cool. It's fun. I don't know if it's the best list, but it's a pretty good one, and it's different, so if you have Avenging Wrath, I'd recommend trying it out. If you don't have Avenging Wrath, you can probably put Silas... Silas in. I was trying to think of the second name of the card, but I can't remember. Silas Dark something? I don't know. The minion that rotates the board, you can put it in your deck. You can take your opponent's Rattle Gores. If you see a lot of warriors, you have Silas because it's free, so put one of them in. Let me know how it works for you. I hate playing Libroom Paladin, I'm not going to lie. It's maybe my least favorite archetype to play. I think the deck is... I don't know, the pen stuff is cool, but it's just like, the deck itself isn't very interesting. You just buff your minions up and trade in, and it's, I don't know. It's kind of annoying. You have value control decks, you lose to Smork decks. Shaman revolves you, you cry. I don't know, people like it though, so if you like it, play it. I don't blame you, and if I do, I won't tell you about it. I don't know, I think the deck's fine, it's not my playstyle. Anyways, number 4, I think this is a good deck for ladder. If you do like the Paladin playstyle, then definitely try it out, and let me know how it does for you. Next up is the number 3 deck, and today it is Tempo Enrage Warrior. I think Enrage Warrior is what is commonly known as now. It used to be known as Tempo Warrior. It's the same thing. List we're featuring is Monsantos because how could I feature any other deck? This deck belongs to my best friend, the love of my life, my homie, my OG, the first player I met in Hearthstone. We're not actually dating, just in case anyone was wondering. I'm single as fuck. This is Monsanto's deck, though. This is my homie. Interestingly enough, there is an Ooze in this deck, which is a card I'm not a big fan of. He brought this to the World Championships, which he finished top 4 in. Pretty proud of him. There's an Ooze in the deck. The reason was Demon Hunter was pretty much everywhere. He was banning Warrior with this strategy. But coincidentally, even though Demon Hunter's been nerfed, Ooze is still pretty good because it hits Shaman, Evolved Shaman, which is, as you'll probably have noticed by now, is kind of the name of the game. Don't lose to Evolved Shaman. I've mentioned it several times. If you do want to cut it, I'm not really sure what you'd put in place. I'd say probably a second copy of Sword Eater or Kor'kron. A lot of control decks, second Kor'kron's good if you're playing against a lot of more aggressive decks than Sword Eater is good, but having 2 Sword Eaters does make your end card pool a little inconsistent. It's hard to say, but you can play around with it. I would suggest keeping it in. There is an argument for second Corsair Cash, but I'm not sure if that's good enough with only 2 weapons. Either way, I think Enrage Warrior is just a good deck right now. I think it is one of the best decks against Shaman, especially if you're running Ooze. The deck is able to clear the boards pretty easily, and with cards like Barov, the Skipper stuff in general, Wormhole Challenger can keep your opponent off the board, Reaper Scythe can clear stuff, and you actually have a win con. A lot of decks will, like Control Warrior, will play against Evolved Shaman, clear the board repeatedly, and then run out of stuff to do. But Enrage Warrior doesn't do that. You just make big dudes and hit them. You eventually are going to win. My hood fell off. I'm a little annoyed. I didn't put that back on. Pretend you saw nothing. I don't know. I think Enrage Warrior is just... It makes sense to play it on ladder. It beats Shaman. And it's fun. What else do you need? But yeah, I think Enrage Warrior is arguably one of the best decks on ladder right now. I put it in as number 3. Other players might put it a bit higher or lower. If you enjoy the deck, I'm considering doing a video on it, like a deck highlights video for my stream. A little bit of a deck guide with some highlights. If you like that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll get to it. I want to make content that you guys want, not just the content I want. If I was making the content I want, I'd be on my free camps. Let's be real here. So if you guys want to see a deck guide on this, let me know in the comments below. If not, well, let's get over to the second best deck in the game right now. Number 2 on our list, the second best deck and the 4th deck we're taking a look at, numbers are weird, how do they work, is Tempo Rogue. You can call it World Kick Rogue, I guess some people are saying. I think Tempo Rogue makes the most sense. It's not Secret Rogue because I don't have secrets. It's got to be Tempo Rogue. The deck is everywhere. It is very close to being the best deck in the game. I think at the highest levels of play, my hood won't stay on, so we're just going to chill. I think at the highest levels of play, maybe top 100 Legend, Rogue is probably better than Shaman. But personally, I think Shaman... I'm spoiling the number 1 deck, but you probably figured it out by now. It's not a surprise to you. I've spoken about the deck the whole time. I think Shaman is just better at the general all levels of play. I think Rogue is a bit better at the highest levels of play, but just because a deck takes a lot of skill, it can lower its win rate across different matchups. A good example is Freeze Mage. I think Freeze Mage or even Turtle Mage were the best decks in the game in their respective metas, but they were so difficult to play that it falls down. This isn't the hardest deck to play, but Rogue is just generally harder than most classes because the combo mechanic can be very difficult to use properly. You need to know when to go in, when to not, when to use Secret Passage, when to make a questing, when to make an Edwin, when to step what. Maybe you want to step Jandis, maybe you want to step a value generation card, maybe you want to step Burn, such as SI. It changes very much game to game, and it takes a very strong player fundamentally to understand when to do what to do what. So I definitely suggest playing Rogue. I think the deck will be around forever, because Blizzard loves this archetype. Blizzard loves Rogue. They refuse to kill Edwin. Edwin's gotta rotate. Please, this card is so stupid. But Blizzard just really wants Rogue to be popular, and I think this will be a good archetype for a while. I think it might take a bit more games to master than some of the other decks on this list, but I do think that Rogue will perform solidly for anyone who plays it. If you look at this list, it's pretty standard as far as World Kick Rogues go. I can't credit someone because I think I took it off of a website where you can get a bunch of decks called HS Replay. I think I took it off there, but I'm not sure. Essentially, the list is pretty standard. It runs all the good cards. Edwin, that's all you need. It runs the other, less good cards, but still good cards, such as Chandis, Questing, Swindle, Foxy Fraud, One Thief, Eviscer, just all the broken rogue cards. But the new edition that players have been running recently is World Kick Master. It is a 2-mana 1/2. When you play a combo card, add another combo card to your hand. I'm not really convinced this card is as good as people think it is, but it is all the hotness on ladder right now. It's really good at Prize Plunder because you can just play a bunch of cards at once. Ow! Fuck, that hurt. You play a bunch of cards at once, and then Prize Plunderer off a big minion. So I do think this is probably one of the better builds of Rogue right now. There are some lists that aren't running the Prize Plunderer and World Kick Master package, and they remove maybe 1 Pharaoh Cat or 1 Eviscerate to go Hanar and 4 Secrets. Try them both out. I think personally this is a bit better right now, especially with the way the ladder is. But if you like Hanar, unlike myself, I fucking hate that card. If you like Hanar, then I would try the Secret Rogue variation. Either way, I think Rogue is a solid addition. And let's get into the number 1 deck for ladder right now, which you guys totally have no clue what it is because I haven't spoiled it. Let's take a look at number 1 on our list. Number 1 on the list, the top secret confidential list, is Evolve Shaman. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, Luker, I never saw this coming! Evolve Shaman? Yeah, me too. This deck is... No one plays this deck, clearly. Evolve Shaman's broken. It's all I can say. It's unfun to play against because they just generate a bunch of swing turns, and the swing turns are vastly different every game because you never know what your opponent's going to summon. The weapon pushes a lot of damage, and they always draw it because Cage Match Custodian is a 2-mana 2/2 that tutors a card. They have Horde Pillager, which is a 4-mana 4/2 that brings back your dead weapon. It's kind of dumb. The list we're featuring is a bit different, though. It's Wire's list. It runs Pirates, it has Greenskin, and it has Parachute Brigand. Greenskin obviously just keeps your weapon growing and lets you get an extra charge out of it if you buff it. Parachute Brigand gives you better swing turns on turn, 2? When you go Lightning Bloom, Coin, Weapon, Dread Corsair, Parachute Brigand. That's a swing turn and a half. That is a huge turn. I think this is pretty close to being the best list. I think a lot of players are having success with it. Realistically, there are lists that aren't running the Revolve package, but I think this is pretty good considering there are a lot of Rogues and Paladins on ladder, and Revolving Edwins or Librums is pretty good. I will say, a lot of the things that make this deck unfun to play against, the big swing turns, the consistent weapon swings, large minions on turn 3, 4, 5, it makes it really unfun to play against, but it makes it so much fun to play. If you like this kind of deck, if you like crazy shenanigans, wild stuff happening every game, you play the same cards every game, but different things happen, Evolve Shaman's probably for you. A little place in my heart might die if you tell me, I love Evolve Shaman, but it's okay. You're all my children, I love you, no matter what deck you play. Unless you play Tech Card Priest. Then the door's over there and you gotta go. I'm not paying child support. You gotta head out because D-Money, that deck is an abomination, my man. It's gotta stop right here. The one thing, speaking of tech cards though, is this list does struggle against weapon removal such as Ooze or Harrison or Sticky Fingers. No one plays Harrison anymore. So be sure to swing the turn you play the weapon if possible. Obviously, if it's a bad swing, don't take it. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Make some big boards. Your opponent's gonna cry. They'll go on Reddit and they're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so bullshit. So, just do what you gotta do. Just win some games of Hearthstone. Evolve Shaman should have been nerfed last time around. It wasn't broken in the Demon Hunter meta, but it was pretty evident to me that it was gonna shoot to the top of the meta. Part of me does think that Blizzard wants this deck to be broken. They had the old Desert Hair Evolve Shaman meta too, back in Doom of the Tomb. So part of me thinks they really want this to be the archetype defining the meta. It is the best time for Evolve Shaman to be good because there is not really a competitive scene right now. If there is one later on, then hopefully this archetype fizzles out. But that is the last deck on our list, so why don't we hop on right over to the conclusion. I still don't know how I'm supposed to do those transitions where I go, alright guys, that was the last deck on the list, and I go into the conclusion. I don't know how to do that smoothly because I am a new frog and I'm a beginner, so bear with me as my editor smooths it out for me. I love you guys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my top 5 list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week and a wonderful holidays. I know not everyone celebrates the holidays, but it's still, you're off work usually, you're off school maybe, you get some time to chill. It's a good time to spend with the people you love. I know the holidays can be hard for some people, so I will be streaming on every holiday for the rest of the year, Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's. I'll probably have an after party for New Year's in my Discord, but I'll be live on all those days as long as I can. So, if you don't have anything going on and you're feeling a little lonely, come to my chat. We'll be hanging out, having a good time as always. I stream every day on twitch.tv/Luker_HS at 7 p.m. Eastern. Mondays I start late. Wednesdays I don't stream though, so it's the only day I don't stream, so my previous sentence was a lie. That's okay. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate the support on all of my videos lately. It means a lot to me. You guys have made 2020 fantastic. I should have a couple more videos coming out before the year ends. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Press the thumbs up button, subscribe, turn notifications on, comment, tell me I'm beautiful, comment, tell me I'm not beautiful, and then I'll tell you you're a liar. Whatever you gotta do. If hopefully 2021's better for everyone. Hopefully I can cut my hair. It's way too long. So hopefully I can get a haircut in the next year. But quarantine, it'd be like that. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. And with that, peace out, Cub Scouts. See you guys later.